Ooh, that looks tasty. Welcome, folks, to The Hungry Gamer is back with another episode of the Monthly Menu, and today we are talking about the top games from March. Now, as always, we're going to start out with last month's predictions of what I said I was going to play, what I was hoping that I was going to play, and did I actually get it played? So, here we go. So the first thing is the list. Did I play anything off of the list of games my wife wanted to play? And the answer is yes, we did. As promised, I took 2 games with me on our vacation, and we managed to get both of them played. We played One Deck Dungeon, which is a perennial favorite of ours. We love to play it. It's great on trips. And we've also played Butterfly Garden, a relatively new one from Steve Finn. So we got both of those played. Great to get those done. Next one on the list was Treasure Mountain. That was from August Games, and one that is a worker placement game that has a really cool mechanic of bumping other workers. When your worker gets bumped, you get to use it again, and there's rules based on the length of the dwarf's beard of whether you get to bump or not. And so I did get to play this. I'm like, I can play it once. I really want to play it again. And it's cool. It's fun. It's got some very cool things. You're building out your own mine. There's a bunch of different resources that you're able to collect and ways that you're able to use these gems. And you have to get more gems in your mine and all the places the workers can go. But as you get towards the end, suddenly it becomes really tight of where you can actually go because you can't bump another worker unless your beard is longer. And sometimes you really don't want to do that because by bumping their worker, you're giving them another action. Maybe that's going to be the action that they need to steal the objective that you're trying to get or steal whatever you're trying to do. And it is a very, very clever game. It's longer than I anticipated. It's a relatively long worker placement game because of this bumping of workers. But I really enjoyed my first play of it, and we immediately added in the expansion, which was very easy, and we got all of it to fit back in the box, which is even better. And it really is a clever game and one that I'm anxious to get back to the table again. Treasure Mountain, very, very cool little game. Next one on the list was Founders of Teotihuacan, and yes, I did. I got it at the table a couple times, and it's a cool game. It is a cool game. Mark Dainty was right. It does some very cool stuff with this architect that moves around the board and kind of determines where it is that you're able to actually build things. It combines with it an interesting worker placement action selection mechanic that requires different levels of strength, which means you have to put out more of your limited number of discs out onto each action, or you can wait till someone else places their disc there and you kind of pile on top and take the benefit of what they've already done. Very, very clever with some cool resource management in that as well. A game that I found has everything in it is a very delicate balance. You can very easily screw yourself over by making one wrong choice, but fascinating little game. The next one was one that's been on the list many, many times, Galaxy Defenders. And as what is a shock to no one, no, I did not get it to the table. I just keep getting close, so close, but I just haven't gotten it out yet because when I get it out, it's going to be a thing. I'm going to spend half a day playing this at least, maybe a few days, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. And the last one was the Dark Quarter. Yes, I got it at the table. I played through the entire prototype, the intro scenarios that they gave me access to. Really enjoyed it. It's on GameFound right now, or Kickstarter right now. It's on one of them right now. I can't remember which one. And just a very, very cool, dark, adult, story-driven game. Very fun. Really enjoyed that one. One of the top things to come from Lucky Duck and Van Ryder games in a while. Very cool game. So that brings us to the most played games of March. And this was an interesting month because I played a bunch of different games a few times. And I also played a lot of games digitally. And I'm never sure exactly how I should rate digital plays. And in general, I've always just kind of said, well, they don't quite count as much as actually getting the game out, sitting down, and playing the game. And whether that's fair or not, I don't know. But there was a whole bunch of games that could have fallen into the top 5, and so I tried to do a little balance and make a formula or whatever for how many times I played online versus I played in person and all that stuff. But here are the top 5 most played games of March. Sneaking in at number 5, we have Coloma. And Coloma sneaks at number 5 over all these other ones because not only did I play it a few times, But I even recorded a playthrough. I was like, okay, I recorded a playthrough, then that has to count for something. And if you want to check it out, you can find it on the channel. But I developed a new AI for it, and I played through a game with it, and I think it's a great Euro game. It plays so wonderfully at high player counts, and I think, if I may say so, now with this bot that I've developed, you can play at low player count and get that high player count experience. Heck, you can play against 5 AIs if you really want to. It might be a little bit of upkeep that you have to do, but you could do it. And it's great. I love that game. It is definitely one of the top Euros out there. Number 4 on the list, this is one that I played a whole bunch digitally, but I also busted out several times the physical copy, and that is Glow. This is a game that is very, very fast. Very, very fast. And you're kind of going on this journey, and you're selecting these companions, and you're rolling dice, and the companions come with dice, and depending on what it is that you roll, you have a little bit of a push your luck style re-rolling dice, trying to get these companions' abilities to activate, which is going to give you points and resources that you need. However, sometimes if you roll the wrong thing, the companion will die and it goes away. And how do you get re-rolls? For the most part, you have to spend your points. And the more points that you have, the more points it costs you to do a reroll. For example, if you have 5 points, it's going to cost you 1 point to reroll. Great. But if you're up at like 70 points, it might cost you 20 points for one reroll. So you better be sure that reroll is going to be worth it. And because the game is short, you don't have a lot of time to make these choices. Very cool game. Very, very cool. And the art on it is just stunning. A beautiful, beautiful game. That is Glow. Number 3 on the list is, I have it right here, Tiny Epic Dungeons. And this is one actually I also took this on the trip for a couple of the days where we were just hanging out, and I just put it out late at night and just kind of played through it several times. This is a cool game. I have not been a huge fan of the Tiny Epic games. I haven't not liked them, but I haven't loved them. And this is the first one that I'm going to keep because this game really does give you that dungeon crawl vibe. The core of how the game is played is very simple. And I really appreciate that. And I appreciate all the different characters. Even with only just a few dice that you're rolling, they really do feel different. There's cool gear you get to find, good exploration. Combat is simple but satisfying. All of that is great. Now, the problem with this game is there are more icons in this game than there are grains of sand on the beach. There's like a 4 or 5 page document that you can print out just to know what all of them do. And it's overwhelming how many there are. And the second problem that I have is, I think it's just my copy. Every single tile is warped on mine. Every single one. So I happen to have some sleeves from another game that actually took the sleeves off, and so I'm hoping that'll make them not quite so warped, so they'll lay a little flatter, or maybe I can bend them and they'll stay. I don't know. So that was a real bummer. But that said, this is a cool game. This is one that I'm going to paint some of the minis, eventually maybe paint all the minis. I might do a playthrough on the channel. Very cool game. I do like it a lot, and definitely getting the expansion is worthwhile in this one. Very cool game, but don't be fooled by the tiny. It does take up a normal amount of space that almost any game takes up on the table. Don't be fooled. Number 2 on the list. Number 2 on the list is a game that I have a digital playthrough of, and eventually I will have a video about, and that is called Project Eos Rise. And this is coming to Kickstarter towards the end of the year. And this is a game that is similar to one of those pandemic style games. It's a co-op game. You're putting out the fires as you're trying to achieve the end game objective. In this case, the world's going to end, and you are out there flying around your ship around the galaxy, getting information from these fast radio bursts, of trying to find out where the paradise planet is, that you can take all of humanity from Earth, which is going to die, and take them to that planet. Of course, along the way, there's aliens that don't want you to do it. Why? I don't know, because they don't. And they're trying to stop you, so there's combat going on, and there's 4 different characters that you're always going to play, and it's a worker placement style game. And so you're placing your workers out, and you're upgrading your characters, and you're moving the ship around, and you're buying resources that you need, buying missiles so you can upgrade the damage that you do. And it's a cool game. It really is a cool game. And I've had a really good time playing. It's definitely one that I'm keeping my eye on, and one that I'm going to play a few more times on TTS. It's a very, very interesting game. And then finally, the number 1. This one squeaked in above the others in number of plays. And it also gets the bonus that I happen to make a video playthrough of this as well, and this is Mission Catastrophe. Like I said before, this is a game where you're putting out all the fires and you're trying to win. And it's fun. It's a cool game. I'm not going to go into, I've talked about it several times before, but it is a cool game. I did a solo play of it. There's a video of that. I made a few mistakes, so make sure you turn on the Klingon subtitles. But cool game, not easy to get right now, but so if you're interested, keep your eye out for it. Now, that brings us into my predictions for next month. Number one, the list. We only have, I don't know, like 4 or 5 games left on there. It's going to get harder because some of these games are long games, but we're slowly getting through it. The next one is Burn Cycle. I got a review copy in. I did a couple previews of it way back in the day, and I'm really excited to kind of check that out and maybe it makes some more content on it because I know there's been a lot of changes since I did preview. Just see what it is, how it turned out. It's right here. You can't quite see it. There's a lot of stuff in the box, a lot of space in the box for all the expansions. I don't have any expansions, but a lot of space in there. So I do appreciate that if I do ever wind up getting expansions, I can just drop them right in there. Fantastic. Hoping to check that out soon. And in fact, that is number one on my list of games to get played. So I'm confident I'm going to do it. Next on the list, Galaxy Defenders. We all know I'm not going to do it, but gosh darn it, I really want to. So here we go again, Galaxy Defenders. Next is Vindication. Now this is one that I picked up, not on a whim, but I had a bunch of games that I wasn't using. I sent them off to Noble Knight Games and I turned them into Vindication. And this is a game that intrigues me because of its mechanics. And I didn't do anything with it because it has a cool theme that means nothing at all to the game. But so many people like it so much. I'm like, nope, I'm going to get it. So I got it and I'm going to play it. That is my goal. I want to play it. I want to experience it. And I want to see if it is what I hope it will be. And the last thing I'm hoping to play again is some more Anno 1800. Now I've played this a few times and I keep hoping that they're going to put out the English rules for how the solo mode works. But it really is, and this is a type of game that normally I would not be interested because it is so Euro. I mean, it's like industrial stuff. You're making a glass factory and you have the glass factory so you can make the glass, which you can make the person happy in. But it has some really satisfying elements of Euro-y goodness of turning this cube into this cube and this cube into this cube and then using these cubes to get the things that you need to buy the stuff and then go explore the new world and whatever. It is a very satisfying game. I've really enjoyed the first few times that I played it and I really want to get it back to the table. So there you have it, folks. That is the top 5 most played games of March, how I did on last month's predictions, and what I'm hoping to play this next month. As always, if you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.